I'm Caroline Cohen. I'm the Principal Social Worker at Asana and the Honorary Executive Director. I am delighted today to have a chat with Marc, who I've met before, and we've enjoyed previous chats. And I'm very grateful for Marc to join me today. He is someone who's benefited from Hana services because he was diagnosed with a male infertility problem. And today we're going to just chat briefly about some of the things which we both think might be helpful to other men out there with a diagnosis of male infertility. Hi, Marc, again.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay, so Marc, when we've talked previously, you shared with me how you manage life's challenges. And today we're not just talking about the COVID challenges out there, we're talking about the challenges of being a man and being diagnosed with male infertility, and how you cope with the investigations and how you cope with the whole process of having a family. Could you share your approach to life's challenges and how you managed in your fertility journey?
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously the shock of being told you're infertile is a big thing. But throughout my life, I've learned, when things are out of your hands, you can't really worry about that. There's not a lot I can do. That the infertility hasn't taken away my masculinity. I'm still a man in how I am and how I go about my life, and you would know no different. But as I said, I can't worry about that. I don't let it get to me. It's, as I said, it's out of my hands, and I can't stress about that. My coping mechanism is I just get on with things. Once I'm then back in that scenario where it is back in my hands, then I'll deal with it. But up until that point, the way I cope is I get on and deal with everything else that's going on around me. And that's the way that I cope with things. But I also understand everyone is different.
Right. So I want to understand how that works with the guy who, when the punches come, just says, yeah, I can manage this and we'll get through this. How you manage if your wife has a different approach? What do you do about it?
So for me, I have my way of coping with it, and that works for me. But I know with my wife, she will deal with it differently. She may have to go off and cry, or shout and scream, or just go off and be secluded and be by herself. And I've got to understand and respect that, because that's her way of dealing with things. Everyone is different. As I've said to you previously, you can't put a round peg in a square hole and vice versa. Everyone is different. So if that works for my wife, fantastic, it works for her. And it doesn't necessarily work for me. I have my own way of dealing with it. But I think you'll see that I have the respect there for my wife to be able to go and do that and not force upon her that my way is better than hers. I understand that.
That's a very beautiful way of describing it, is that you don't just tolerate your wife's different way of doing it. You're actually respectful that it works for her, like your way works for you, her way works for her, and that you can together manage this problem, even though you have different responses to the challenge.
Correct.
So I'm wondering, how did we, Hannah, how did we fit into that whole picture? How did we help out?
So for me, Hannah has been, at the time, and still is, one of the most amazing lifelines, very much like in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. It's phone a friend. I know at the end of the day that there is someone at Hannah who is trained to listen to me. They get up in the morning, they go to work, and as soon as they're at Hannah, that's it. They've got their Hannah hat on, their Hannah mode. They're not worried about what else is going on, and they're dedicated to that person that they're talking to. And in the past, I've, picked up the phone and spoken to someone, maybe at a point where it has maybe got too much for me, and my wife is dealing with one way, and I just needed to express myself to someone, or just to have someone at the end of the phone listen to me, not necessarily have to say anything, just someone there for me to vent. And also with your counsellors, you know, we came to your premises, I've met with your counsellors before, and again, it's just an amazing thing to be able to have access to, and know in the back of my mind that when it does get to that point where I need to phone someone or speak to someone, that you're there for us.
Right.
And I use the word us because it's not just me, it would be my wife, and for anybody else that is going through what we've been through, to know that you're there. I mean, it's fantastic. It really is.
Thank you, Mark, because it's always good to hear that we are there in the way that we hope to be there. That is our intention, is that we are there to help you during those times where it is hard, where you might want to vent, you might want to discuss something, you might want practical advice. To know that you felt that you could do that either by phone or in person, to me, makes me feel good that we got it right with you, and we were able to help. Right, and that is very pleasing to hear. I know that you have been so generous, not just talking to us today, but you've also offered in the last few weeks, since we've all been on lockdown, you've also offered to join a group, which I would like, if it's okay with you, I'd like to tell people who are watching us, I'd like to tell them about that group, is that Mark has offered to join a group of men who are going through infertility and join one of our male therapists who is going to facilitate the group. And it will be, we're calling it a beer and whiskey and Kegel event, where people will come and men will come and chat in a safe place about what it means for them to go through infertility. And so Mark, thank you for that. And people will be able to go in online on our kind of website over the next couple of weeks. People will be able to see more information as that develops, and the timings of that group. So Mark, thank you for being a part of that as well.
Thank you for letting me. You know, to be able to go out and help other men in our community deal with what I've had to go through, or anything to do with infertility, whether it be them, their partner, but just to have an outlet for them to come and discuss, I'm over the moon to be able to help, because I don't think there's enough being done for men in fertility, not throughout the world. I think, you know, we need to really work on this and get together and say, look, at the end of the day, we're still men. Doesn't matter. So if I can help, then I'm overjoyed at being able to do that, and for you to give me the opportunity to do that.
Thank you, Mark. Is there anything else you want to add before we finish today?
No, but you know, just to say, if you know, I'm happy for people to connect with me if need be through yourselves. I'm happy to facilitate that. But you know, for these guys or couples out there, please make your first point of call with Hannah. They're the experts. They're the ones that have been trained, and they're there to help us. And that's it, really. Thank you. Well,
thank you, Mark. And as always, delightful to talk to you. I'm very appreciative of your help. Thank you.
Thank you.